Hey there, beautiful Brown Girl family. Welcome to another episode of Brown Girl Boss. Super excited to be here with you all tonight. I'm really excited for the show that we have tonight. So, as you start to come on, I want you to go ahead and start introducing yourselves in the comments. Let me know where you are watching from. Also, let me know if this is your very first time hanging out with me on Brown Girl Boss. All right. While y'all do all of that, I am going to share the broadcast on my pages because I need my people to get in here too, right? Tonight we are talking about money. We are having a real conversation, y'all, about the places that we get tripped up when it comes to money, thinking about our money stories and what those money stories sound like, and just unpacking the things, right? So I definitely want you all to tag some people, tell them that they need to get in here because we have a lot of things that we need to talk about. And go ahead and share the broadcast on your page so that people know what you are watching. And I'm going to do the same. So let me go ahead and share to my page now. You know, you got to model what you want, right? So sharing to my page. Perfect. All right. So if y'all will do the same again, and as you come on, make sure that you start introducing yourselves in the comments, that you let me know where you are watching from, that you also let me know if this is your very first time hanging out on Brown Girl Boss, because we have a lot to talk about. All right. So I see a couple of y'all checking in. Hey, Camille is checking in. Hey there from Florida. Excited to have you. We also have Kia is on from Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome to the party. Once again, go ahead and tag some of your people in the comments, share the broadcast on your page, let them know what you are doing right now, that you are here, that you are watching. And if there's anybody in your life that you've had conversations that have anything to do with money, tell them to get in here because we definitely need everybody in here, y'all. We're trying to break generational cycles and curses, okay? So we need to get the people in here, y'all, all right? Hey, Stanza, I see you, love. Welcome. Excited to have you. Also have Carmetta is here checking in, y'all. Let me know where you're checking in from, okay? So that I can celebrate you and such. All right, so I don't want to belabor the time anymore. I want to do our official beautiful brown girl boss welcome because I want to make sure that we leave time for our guests. All right, so let me go ahead and do the official welcome. Hey y'all, hey, good evening. Welcome to BBG TV's Brown Girl Boss. This is our virtual platform that allows us to connect with other like-minded women who are on a mission to live their very best lives. We come to you weekly with programming that will challenge and inspire you and get the conversation going to connect with other beautiful brown girls. My name is Kimberland, and I'm coming to you all from Medellin, Colombia in South America, and I am your host for Brown Girl Boss. So I'm excited to be here with you all tonight. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and check it in the comments. Introduce yourself. Let me know where you are watching from. Also, let me know if this is your very first time hanging out here on Brown Girl Boss. I love to celebrate our first timers and just acknowledge the fact that you made it to the right place. Okay, so super excited to be here. So let's see, we have Raleigh, North Carolina checking in. We also have Chicago is checking in. All right, so I see y'all getting in here. Perfect, wonderful. So listen, before we get started, I need y'all to go ahead and make sure that you get something to write with, okay? Because I'm sure that the gems, the notes, the things are going to be coming out fast, all right? So definitely want to make sure that you have something or prepare to watch this replay, okay? Because it's going to be a lot, all right? But I do have a question for you all before we get started. And while I introduce our guests, my question is, what is your biggest struggle when it comes to money? I want you to go ahead and drop that into the comments for me. What is your biggest struggle when it comes to money? All right, go ahead and drop that into the comments, and I am going to get us started by introducing our guest. So you can see our beautiful guest, y'all. And honey, wait till y'all see this hair, honey, once you get on here. But at any rate, let me go ahead and tell you about our guest today. Her name is Yarelys, and she is a first generation Afro Latina in the personal finance industry who is passionate about teaching and impacting people in their journeys, especially after she became debt free for the first time in 2019. She uses a combination of her personal story, growing up in a low income household, to being a six-figure income earner in corporate, to now running her own company as a framework for her message and her work. Cash's Kween was created to give women of color in all phases of their financial journeys the opportunity to create generational wealth and be financially abundant. Y'all, I want you to make sure that you drop your questions for Yarelys into the comments, all right? And let's go ahead and welcome her to the show. Let's get her in here. Hey, Yarelys.
What's up?
Yeah.
So, I thought I was the only one that dances in their chair when they're excited.
Oh, yeah.
Or like, do a little little twerk.
Because it helps get the blood flowing, right? It helps everything get it together. So then you like, here we go. We finna free some people, right? That's the energy. But no, I'm super excited that you are here with me. Super excited for this conversation that we are going to have. So I see people getting in here, y'all. I'm telling y'all, go ahead and grab something to write with because y'all gonna need it. So before we get started, I just want to set the stage for what people have said is their biggest struggle when it comes to money. All right. And then we're gonna jump into the things. So we have saving is the biggest struggle. Spending on someone else. I struggle with if I eat, we all eat mindset. Ooh, stanza girl. I got a lot to say about that girl. Oh my goodness. Let's see what else. Convincing people to stop keeping their struggles with money a secret. Ooh, right? Ooh. Ooh, the struggle is investing correctly. Carmetta, what you said? My FinCon pal.
That's
where she know you from.
Hey, girl! Oh my gosh! Thanks for being here. Yeah, I met her at FinCon.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, so we have some admissions here in the comments, right, when it comes to our money struggle. And I know that just from reading your bio that there was a lot of struggle that also was happening in your life. So what I really want to do today, Yarelys, is to kind of talk through your money story. And I would like to also share my story with money because I feel like there are some lessons that we need to get out of that. So having said that, can you start with your first memories, maybe, of interactions with money?
Yeah, so this is such a good question. And before I begin, I just want to thank you and the BBG TV team for allowing me this beautiful platform to speak on something I'm so passionate about. So, oh my gosh, woo! Already. So yeah, I come from a very low income, like you mentioned in my bio. My parents came to this country from Dominican Republic before I was born, and I say this all the time: when you don't have guidance and you're coming from a different country to America for the American dream, when you don't even know what that means, you fall into poverty. You don't have mentorship. You don't have guidance. So my mom didn't have a choice. My parents raised me, but so did the government. I was born in Washington Heights and grew up in the Bronx as well as CT. And we lived for a nice part of my life. We lived in a rat-infested apartment in the Bronx. and different things like that, and I saw a lot of struggle. So from that time, I really remember that my money story or my money beliefs were starting to develop.
Mm-hmm.
And one
Mm-hmm.
of those money beliefs was that making money was hard, because that's what I saw. I saw that my parents, it was hard for them to make money. It seemed like, right? As a kid,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, yes, we have food on the table at night, but it's very clear, okay, that we're struggling.
Yeah.
So making money is hard. That's what I started
Mm.
to like learn and see based on my environment and my surroundings. And then the second one of the money beliefs was that I'm not enough. I'm not worthy of
Mm.
money, because I saw how, just the the fact the fact that my parents were working really, really hard and they didn't get financially blessed. So why would I be financially blessed in the future? So
Mm.
that was another big one that was, it was consistent throughout my life, and what I did, and the actions I took and the decisions I made, right? And this is something that money beliefs never really go away. You just learn
Yeah.
quiet them a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Even now,
Yes.
sometimes when
Yes.
we're going to talk about some of the services that I offer later. But even now, I'm like, and I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and y'all are going to hear the juice around that in a second. But, it's different. I don't have security. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
a pension. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a 401k. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when, a contract falls through, I'm like, shit, making money is hard. Like,
Yeah.
get back to that mindset. So it takes a while. It really does, for me to sit down and say, no, I am worthy of money. I do. I'm worth it. It didn't happen. It didn't go through that time, or that contract didn't, wasn't approved for whatever reason. But that has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do
Right.
with my worth,
Right.
with what I bring to the
Right.
table, with the impact I'm
Mm.
making. Nothing. So that was another big thing that I realized, as time went on. It was, again, consistent in my life, that I was always
Mm.
thinking, making money is hard. I'm not worthy. And the other one was that being rich is for people who don't look like me. So,
Definitely that one.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, making
Mm.
making loads of money, and then also wanting to have wealth and to make a lot of money was greedy of me. That was
Yes.
another big one, because I
Yes.
also grew up in the religious world, and my mom was always going to church on Sundays, and I would say now I'm more spiritual than religious, but
Mm-hmm.
I grew around that environment too. So I
Same.
would hear things like, oh, God doesn't want you to have a lot of money, and just the vibe and the culture around church. And this is something that I didn't want to bring up because it's super taboo in addition to money. So I wanted to leave it at one taboo topic. But God,
But
God,
we're here. We're here. So go on and throw it on top.
God said, watch this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's whatever comes out tonight. I have an agenda and something I want to share, and a message I want to share with you guys. But it's also like, I'm just being used. God
Yeah.
is just using me to impart, motivation, inspiration, and for you to move and take action.
Amen.
So yeah, so that was why I developed those beliefs, um,
Mm-hmm.
and the way of thinking, and that
Mm-hmm.
scarcity mindset. That's what that was.
Yes. So
That
before you jump into that, because I want to unpack the scarcity mindset, right? And I want you all to tell us in the comments, what are your money beliefs, or how were your money beliefs shaped? Because when you brought that up, y'all, we didn't really like, we don't really plan what we're going to talk about per se, right? We're like, we're going to go in this general direction, then we'll see what happens. Well, I was telling you earlier today, I was like, I feel the need to go on to IG Live and just kind of like start laying a little bit of the places that I'm thinking in regards to my relationship with money, right? And I had zero agenda when I got on there. I was just like, I need to comb my hair, I need to put on my makeup, and let me just talk about money. And what was bubbling to the surface were some of those beliefs. So I wrote them down. So my money beliefs were things like money can be taken away from me at any time. So I shared how my mother took my savings account as an 8-year-old, and it was only maybe $500, but took it to put a down payment on the house. And then she was like, well, you got to live here, right? So clearly it's fine. And what that taught me was, no matter how much I work for money, no matter how much I save my money, no matter how much I make the choices, somebody can always decide that they're going to take it away from me. The other money belief that I had is that there will never be enough, right? Which goes to that scarcity mindset, which we're about to get into. But then one of the ones that was very, very prevalent and stayed around for a really long time is that money is to be hidden and money is used to control people. So I was taught that I should never tell my father, my partner, any man, whoever asks if I have money, I should always say no. And I should always have this separate stash of money over to the side that they don't know about, because at any time they could decide to abandon me and I won't have anything. So I had this fear of always winding up on the street in a box, just trying to figure things out, even though like life circumstances don't match that, right? So when we talk about things like the scarcity mentality and fearing that there isn't enough, can you talk a little bit more about what that means and how that might manifest?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I also had those same feelings in my journey, getting out of that toxic or, just a physical trauma that goes with like you being a kid and seeing certain things and, and seeing people that you love fight over money and all these things,
Yes.
right? And what comes up when you say that was that I developed that same trait. I basically turned into a money hoarder where,
Mm-hmm.
because I was scared about my future or, what the future would hold financially, wealth, investing, retirement. I was like, well, I'm just going to hold on tight and,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hoard all my money so that it's there and I feel secure, and that's also a thing that when I started to make real good money in corporate, which we're going to talk about in a second, I was like, ooh, I've never seen this much money in my life. But when you come from that environment, that scarcity mindset environment, what happens is you either become a money hoarder, which that's what happened to me, or you
Mm-hmm.
become an excessive spender. And I got another promotion. Let me get a new car when your car is perfectly fine. But because you want to, you just want to flex on them and all these things, that's what happens. Yeah, holding tight on money. Like that's what happened
Mm-hmm.
to me. And that's how I manifested me hiding the money is I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to keep it to myself. I'm not going to give it to anybody. I'm not going to
Mm.
buy. I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to give back to organizations that I believe in. Like all these things that was my thought process. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what if something happens to me? Who's going to give me money? Who's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
going to donate money to me if something happens? Why should I donate money to other people and other organizations? So that's a big one, when it comes to you getting out of abundance mindset. And what I will say is that you can't operate or you can't live on having that scarcity mindset and that abundance mindset at the same
At the
time.
same time.
You
Yeah.
can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So something's got to give. It's a trade-off. So that's when I, as I, once I moved out of the Bronx and we moved into Connecticut, I don't know if we have any Connecticut people in the building, but we moved out. It was a little bit better, but those feelings still came up. It really was just a progression. No, there wasn't no like one event that it was like a light bulb event that I was like, yes, this is it. I don't have a scarcity mindset around money anymore. It was more like a progression in a series of events that led there.
Interesting. So you mentioned that you found your way to this corporate arena where you were making more money than you had ever seen. How does that experience play into what has now been developed of the way that you think about money?
Yeah, so this was a really cool time in my life because, I was in my early 20s. I'm going to give you guys context. Early 20s.
Okay.
I lived in New York City and worked in New York City. I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I was in sales. So, it's very cutthroat, but very lucrative, extremely lucrative. And, I was experiencing life as a young adult, obviously blowing it up in the club on the weekend and having fun and going out to eat, all these things. But then also I was in corporate and I was experiencing literally coexisting with white people for the first time, I would say, outside of, obviously I went to college, so I did well, but this was like the real life now. I'm taking care of a household, my first very apartment outside of my mom's house. I was far away from my immediate family too, so it was a lot going on, and then I was coming out of a really traumatic relationship. So it was so much. So even though there were a lot of great things and I was making good money at the time, and this was my first real job, right? I had already gotten like a few promotions. So I was like maybe making $50,000 as I was 21, 22 in 2012. Not bad.
That was pretty decent. Yeah.
In 2012. Yeah.
2012.
So, but what I realized was that I was also coping. I was using that mechanism of me having all this money, or just like having more than how I lived, right? And having more than just enough. So I had more than just enough now. So I was using it to do things that wasn't helping me move forward. Like, the long weekends, and again, like the clubbing and just drugs and alcohol, all the things, spending money on, I was in my 20s.
Yeah. So, you was wilding out. It was the years.
I was wilding out. I did some crazy stuff. And that's how I was using it. That's how I was like coping with everything going on. Cause like I said, I was far from my immediate family. This is my first apartment ever as a young adult. I didn't have, I couldn't really go and like hang out with my mom to get that like, homey comfort or anything like that. I didn't have any of that. So, so it was definitely a progression to get there and to really unpack those things that I was like doing to myself, because it wasn't helping. It wasn't helping. I was using money in that way, and not really focusing on creating wealth. But again, it takes time. Like I didn't know what I didn't know then. You know what I'm saying? So that's also part of it, is like, looking back, I would have did something different, or I could have done better, but you didn't know better. So why are you beating yourself up for it?
Yeah, and to that point of the knowing better and doing better, I definitely think that is a component that we leave out when we're having these self-deprecating thoughts about our relationship with money. A lot of times we are thinking about it in our now mind. Right. So, as my 42-year-old self, there are certain things that I know. But if I go back to my 22-year-old self, child, I was just out here trying to make it and have some fun while we here, right? So to your point, like the grace that we have to extend to ourselves in this process of repairing our relationship with money because we did what we thought we were supposed to do. Like
Right. We
that was
did.
it, right? And that manifested through whatever lenses and whatever chapters we had already created in our money story. um and that's something that we just have to accept, I think, as opposed to trying to judge it. So you're in corporate, you're in this season. How did you wind up transitioning out of that season, and what did that season teach you?
Um, that season taught me to advocate for myself.
Tell me
So
more about that.
yeah, so okay. So I was starting to get really close with a few coworkers. Again, I am in a new city for, new everything basically. And so we ended up, like having lunch dates. We would have like every day we would go out somewhere in the city in Midtown and have lunch. And it was usually it was a group of people, but it was usually a girl. She was an Irish girl, one of my favorite Irish girls, and then it was another girl, which we became very close, and we still talk to this day. I talk to her to this day. She's amazing, and we were talking and having a conversation around everything. Basically, we used to talk about so much stuff, but this specific day, we were talking about salary transparent. Well, we were talking about our salaries, okay?
Mhm.
And I don't know how the conversation came up, but because as most of us know, salaries in corporate is like another taboo topic.
Do
You
not,
cannot
right.
bring up nothing when it comes to money in corporate, which now is getting a little bit better with the salary and transparency laws, specifically in New York City. And there's a lot going on now around that. But my friend shares her salary, and I immediately like start to, oh my gosh, my blood starts to boil because this
Mm.
girl and I are making we have the same role. So we
Mhm.
have the same role, we have the same responsibilities. Everything is the same basically.
Mhm.
And she shares her salary, and my salary is $12,000 less than hers. And I start like trembling. I'm hyperventilating. I'm like, I worked my ass off
Right.
here, like maybe more, a little bit more than her. And yes, she had more experience. I get that. But
I was
$12,000,
about to say $12,000 worth.
that's wild. A whole five figures.
Yeah, that's a whole different like pay band. Like that's from a manager to a director to like that's
Yeah,
quite a bit.
yeah, yep.
Mhm.
And this is where the racial wealth gap comes in. Why there's so much, why there's less net worth in Black and brown households, way
Right.
less. Like, and it's approaching zero by 2053 as well. So if we don't do
Mhm.
something about it, so that's why I'm
Mhm.
so passionate about the work that I do, because it's like, yo, if we don't do something, if we don't like move, if we don't invest and we don't make our money grow, it's gonna be zero at 2053. Yes, they're right.
Wow.
So I just had no words, and she could tell I was pissed,
Mhm.
and angry and bitter. And she apologized. She didn't know what to say. She was
Like it
like,
was her fault. Like she.
I'm so sorry. Because I was like, wait, this makes no sense. And I was really naive still about life in general. And I'm like, how is this even possible? I can't believe they're doing this to me. So that, I would say that week or maybe the week later, I schedule a call with my boss to talk to him. And I request an increase.
And
I'm
how
like,
did that
yo,
go?
what the hell is up? Like, why am I getting paid this amount when she's getting? And I don't remember if I like brought that up. I probably did though, because I don't say that. Like, listen, she's doing the same job. What's up? You know. So and I'm still learning how to talk in corporate. You know what I mean? You know what I mean when I say that, like code switching things. So I'm like, no. So that's when I started to realize, like, yo, if I don't advocate for myself, nobody else will. Nobody else is gonna have my back, and I'm the only one that can save me. So, that's what I'll say about that time in my life where I started to see things differently. I had a new perspective. I was growing as a young adult. I was evolving. And these were just some of the things that when I look back, I'm like, wow, that's why that happened. Or that's how I acted the way I did. You know, those kinds of things. And again, every time I had some sort of money trouble or like these kinds of things, these kinds of situations, guess what? Those money beliefs will come back. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of this. I don't belong here. And that also, the way that it manifests is imposter syndrome as well. So so that part of my life was very interesting, but I learned so much and I'm grateful for everything. Like, and I, you know, at the time I was furious. I even cried. But now I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful that I experienced that. That I was able to see like how that is in real life. Because you hear about it, you see people post about it, but you're like, yo, does it really happen? Similar to a situation that happened earlier today, real time. Someone I know has been in tech for over 10 years with this company, and they just got the notification that they're going to be laid off.
Yep.
And you know, if you're watching this and you've been impacted at your job, I'm so sorry. And, you know, and I'm praying for you. And I'm sorry this happened to you. And, you know, something we can't control. But I look at that situation and I'm like, yo, nobody is going to save us, especially not millennials. Nobody's going to save us. You know, so we have to save ourselves. And we have to also find ways that where we can still create a lifestyle outside of work. Why are we only solely using our job as income? You know what I'm saying?
So let's take that turn because you've added some layers here, right? So you've talked about having where our core beliefs came in regard to our relationship with money, how our money story has developed based on the different inputs that we've gotten. Also, this awareness piece of recognizing as brown women living in this world that there are certain shared money experiences that we have, especially when we're talking about corporate and things of that nature. And then just now you're like, okay, so we need to be thinking about additional ways to be able to generate wealth, to be able to change the trajectory that our families may have been on or that we may have been on. So if you could take us into this decision to enter this world of entrepreneurship, what did that look like? And then again, how did that shape your money story?
Ooh, this one's a heavy one. So I was with that job, you know, in that company for 5 years with that whole, you know, salary situation happened. It was a very toxic environment, very toxic. You know, I was joked around. People joked around about my hair, my outfits. I'm sorry, I'm thick, like, different things like that. And it's like, and it was so bad. It was so toxic. Looking back, I could have filed so many lawsuits because it was just so bad, so bad. But anyway, in 2017, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done in this industry. It was male dominated and also white male dominated. So it's like on top of that, what. So so I was like, okay, this is my year to take it to the next level. So I started to interview for other roles. And I jumped ship and I left that industry to go to another white male dominated industry in sales. It was a little bit better. It was a breath of fresh air though. And this is what I'll say about that, about switching roles and going to different companies. We hear it all the time. We have to leverage our transferable skills. Okay. So everything you learn in one job, what you do is you suck up all the money that company will give you and all the skills and all the training. And you say, okay, it's been nice knowing you. We gonna go over here because they're gonna give me 30% increase salary. And that's exactly what happened. They when I left to go to the other company, I increased my income by 30%. Wow. Because of that transferable skill and what I learned. I had been there for, quite frankly, if you count from internship, from when I started to intern for the company, it was over 10 years. Wow. That I was with the company. So in 2017, when I put in my 2 weeks, everybody's like, whoa, that is cray. Even me, I'm like, yo, am I really doing this? Yeah. And that's also another thing, that sometimes for you to grow and expand and reach another level in your life, you have to do something that's a little bit uncomfortable, maybe, a little bit. You're going to be now engaging in things that you didn't know you could do, right? Going into uncharted territory. And that is freaking scary. So that's what happened in 2017. And I started with this new company. That first year I worked with them, I blew out my sales numbers. It was to the point where I almost won a trip. I almost won, they have for people that are top salespeople, they have they ship you out to Jamaica, to Costa Rica, all these places. So that was how good I did. I almost, and when I talk about what happened with this company, you guys, I just wanted to set the stage, because that part is very important. So anyway, that was my first year with the company. And somebody's like, always update your LinkedIn, with new skills. Absolutely, Sansa. And now it's also, I won't say more about, but it's also about different certifications and training programs that you take. LinkedIn has an awesome e-learning platform. I don't know if you guys see that. I'm like, that is so cool. You can literally get a project management certificate in a few months.
And to your point of being able to leverage some of the things that you already know how to do, you can utilize a platform like that to get more legitimacy, if you will, within those particular skills and such. So that's something I know specifically. My primary industry is education, and a lot of teachers are leaving education right now, but also not really understanding how to leverage those skills. So I appreciate that you brought that up, because that's super important. So, okay, bring us back. You're at the company, you're knocking it out the park. We done completed a successful year. What happened? Because you alluded to something happened that made you be like, yes or no. What happened?
So in 2019, I, because I made so much money, I was like, well, in addition to I had a really nice condo apartment. I paid off all my debt for the first time. So I paid off my car, I paid off all my student loans, and I never had credit card debt like that. So I would pay it off in full. So I was good on that. And that's something I learned from my mom, like, pay everything off. I didn't know why. I didn't know like there's something called the credit score, and these are
and interest.
She just said pay it off in full. I was like, all right, fine. So so I paid everything off about over $25,000 in that was May of 2019, and I was stoked. I was so excited to not have debt. And then COVID hit, so we all experienced that in 2020. Because I worked in sales, we literally were home trying to like twiddle our thumbs, trying to figure out what to do. The company was giving us busy work for a few months. And then they announced that we were going back to the field, that we were going back and going to visit our clients and all those things. And so in June of 2020 was when we went back. And I started to work again because again, we weren't really working. So, oh my God, Harvey, hello. This is one of my really good friends. Hey, Harvey. I'm so excited to see all my friends here. So
we're back at work. It's June 2020.
Okay. Yes. So at the end of 20, and obviously nobody was making money, right? We weren't selling anything because we were home all day. So it was hard to make moves like we did the year prior. And they understood that, but I don't know. I guess they picked me. So at the end of the month, in June, the end of the month, I get I think it was a scheduled meeting with my boss. And this was an anxiety inducing meeting.
I'm sure.
Put it in the chat if you guys have been in a meeting like that, an anxiety inducing meeting. So basically, the way that manifested was I got a really bad lower back pain. It was like very sharp, extremely sharp. Like somebody was stabbing me in the back. That's how bad this was. Yes.
That's crazy because I'm certain that's what you're about to tell us was literally happening.
Yeah, and it was instant. As soon as I got off the phone, and I was hysterical on the phone with my boss at the time. As soon as I got off the phone, I get up because I was sitting down in my truck, in the company truck. I get up and I just feel a wave of like a crazy back pain, like in my lower back. And I can barely move. I can barely walk up the stairs and get, we had an elevator in this building. And I was freaking scared. I was terrified. So anyway, I'm like freaking out. So I decided to call one of my mentors at the time, who she was so instrumental in a lot of different things I did, and this was one of them. So I get on the phone with her, and I'm like, crying and sharing with her what happened, and she goes, why are you so worried? God got you, right? Like, God is protecting you, and you're good, and you've always had provision in your life. And then I share with her, my savings and all those things. And she's like, you already know what to do. You have the skills. Like you are equipped. Okay. You have everything you need. And she's very spiritual. So she prayed for me. And the reality of it was I had a year of expenses saved.
Very good.
So I not only paid off debt in 2019, I took that year from May of 2019 to June of 2020, which I didn't know that was going to happen, right?
Right.
That year I took of being debt free, and I said, like I said, I'm a money hoarder. at heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I just stacked up, not knowing what was about to happen.
Yeah.
And you know, and I had already started Cash as Queen. Didn't make a dime yet. So I was
Mm-hmm.
literally going on faith. I'm like, God,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm leaving corporate. I'm leaving what's comfortable. I'm leaving benefits. So I wrote my resignation letter that weekend. And that was,
Hmm.
and I gave it like, so that situation happened on Friday, on that Friday. And then the following Wednesday, I gave my boss the resignation letter. I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, you guys have a letter for me?" I said, "Watch this, watch this." Like, no, no, not happening. Watch this.
Wow. So Cassius Queen was already in existence. And now I'm assuming at this point that you got serious about it. So tell the people, what is Cassius Queen? They're like, what does she do? What is it that you actually do, Yarelys?
Yeah, so Cassius Queen was created out of desire, out of being upset and bitter. You know, this happened around the time of Breonna Taylor and
Mm-hmm.
George Floyd and just everything going on. So we were experiencing a global pandemic, but we were also
Mm-hmm.
experiencing a
Right.
racial pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was just so tired. Were you guys tired in 2020, in the
Yeah.
beginning of 2020? I think everybody was just mentally spent. So I was
Yeah.
like, you know, what can I do to impact my community and to help the people, and to just also share my talents and my gifts.
Yeah.
So I used what I love, which was finances, what I'm good at, finances,
Mm-hmm.
money,
Mm-hmm.
and the opportunity basically to create, you know, a space and a platform to help women of color and support them in their personal and business finance journeys. So that's how it kind of materialized. And when I say I started in 2020, you know, I'm talking, I started posting that I had a business now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started. But
Mm-hmm.
I officially registered the business in October of 2020. However, I didn't make money until my first dollar until July of 2021.
Oh,
So it took a
wow.
long time, honey. It took a long, long,
Yeah.
long time. And that was also because, you know, life happened. So I left corporate in 2020 with no backup plan, left everything. And and at the end of 2020, I came to the realization that I just couldn't afford my lifestyle anymore. You know, I had the year of expenses saved, but I wanted to stretch that, right, for business scene money as well as to eat. I had to eat too and pay bills.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So I'm like, yo, I can't live in this nice condo apartment anymore. And that was a humbling experience. It really,
Mm-hmm.
really was. I had to move into a room with like two other people. Obviously it was a house, but I had my own room,
Mm-hmm.
but I,
Mm-hmm.
I shared the living areas with
Mm-hmm.
two other people. And one of the women was diagnosed with PTSD from COVID. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving a situation that was super anxiety inducing to basically live in another one. You know,
Right.
this lady was she heard voices in her head. Like it was
Oh,
that kind of bad, yes. So it got
okay.
to the point where, where she accused me of like going into her room and
Mm.
messing up with her ugly dog. Like I don't know what she was
Oh,
about.
wow.
But it got to the point where I had to even move my knife set to my room one night because I just didn't trust her. I didn't know what she was gonna do. She was bonkers. So,
Mm.
so it was a tough time. I didn't have time to really, work on the business. I had to take
Mm-hmm.
care of
Mm-hmm.
me and my
Yeah,
personal.
you were back in survival mode.
Yeah, I was so in survival mode. And
Mm-hmm.
it took I would say from November of 2020 all the way up to maybe like April of 2021. So in April I was like, okay, yo, I didn't leave corporate to be broke on, every day. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, it's time to pick it up. It's time to put all my big girl panties on, because nobody is going to save us.
Right.
So that's when I started to really work on my business. And now I have partnerships with different organizations, and I help them with their financial literacy initiatives. So I also, it was a lot of pivoting with the business as well, because I started in coaching and one-on-one coaching, and that wasn't really working for me. So I hit a roadblock, and I'm like, okay, what else can I do? And so I said, you know what? I leaned on to a conversation I had with an unofficial mentor I had around the same time. And he looked at my curriculum and what I created. And he was like, you know what? I see this curriculum and your work being on like the YMCAs of the world and the Boys and Girls Clubs. And he saw it so much bigger than I did. I was only thinking one-on-one coaching. I'm just going to be a coach, a financial coach, right? I wasn't thinking that far, but sometimes the vision that you're supposed to live and how you're supposed to evolve and grow in the business and in identity, sometimes other people see it before you do, right? That vision. So that's what he said. And I leaned on to that conversation, and I'm like, oh, wow, let me implement what he said like 4 months ago, because that's also another thing. I'm super stubborn. So if I don't want to do something, you tell me something, I don't want to do it, whatever. I'm not going to do it until I'm ready. So at that time I was ready, and I started to reach out to organizations that had some sort of financial literacy program. And I was like, oh, are you guys looking for an instructor, for someone that can help you? Anything. I picked up anything. So as soon as somebody replied, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm available. When can we meet? So that's how it started. Yeah. So now I have partnerships all across the East Coast. I have a customer in California. And also in a few parts in the South as well. So super excited about that.
Very nice. So I'm sure the question that is on everybody's mind right now is, how can they work with you? Like, what do you do? How do you help? Even if someone doesn't necessarily have a business, but they are wanting to figure out how to work with you to deal with this money story and to start embracing some more positive beliefs. What does that look like to work with you?
Yeah, so I just started, I created a service specifically for this group, actually, that I'm actually rolling it out for this group, right? And it's really about having, we talked about this already, right? It's really about giving access to people that look like us, giving financial access, financial coaching at a price that makes sense for them, right? On a budget, for people that may not have thousands of dollars, because financial coaching is expensive. Any type of coaching is expensive. And I really wanted to serve the community. This is really just a labor of love, this service, because it's super, budget friendly, low cost. And the purpose of it is to do the financial coaching and help you through different goals that you have, whether that's investing in the stock market. Maybe you're starting a business and you're trying to figure out the personal and business finances and how that all works out. Because it's a new world, you're now having to deal with a new entity, on top of your personal finances and making sure that you have enough money during retirement. Now you have to think about a new entity. That's your business. That's a baby. So you have to treat it like that and nurture it like that. So I help and support women and men as well. If you're a man here, you can, we could talk or whatever. So this is the service, and this is for people that don't necessarily that are, when it comes to money, you have a pretty good mindset, because, I wanted to keep it very budget friendly for everyone. And that's why it's a mix of financial coaching and DIY. So if you really need hand holding, then you may need like a one-on-one coaching program. This is for people that have that already handled and taken care of, but that may be they may need help with, like I said, saving for a specific reason, or retirement, or investing, and they have a goal for the next 3 months to do something like that. So that's for
Gotcha.
those types of people. And again, I'm not trying to profit off of this at all. This is like chump change for financial coaching. But again, I wanted to make it accessible, just because we don't have something like this. There's a lot of financial coaches out there, which are amazing, but you're going to spend like at least $800 a month on financial coaching. So if you are someone that's like, yo, I just need to save $10,000 so I can get about this job, or whatever it is, right?
Yes.
We got you.
Yes. Well, I feel honored and special that you have rolled this out for us. A couple people asked about the link. I just dropped it into the chat. Excuse me, where you are able to go specifically to that page, but also Yarelys's website is scrolling at the bottom. So again, that is cashisqueen.org. All right. So if you are thinking to yourself, I can stand to do some tightening up over here. Got a little bit that want to talk through with someone who has lived this, but also has studied this and existed in this world for a couple decades or so. Definitely reach out. Yarelys, where can people find you outside of like on social medias and all the things? Like, where are you located there?
Yeah, so if you guys see at the bottom, that's my website link. You can also find me on Instagram at ytifa14. I'm mainly there. I'm also on Facebook. So if you look me up, Yarelys Tifa on Facebook, or Cash is Queen LLC, I'm there as well. And if you have any questions about that service that we just shared with you guys, feel free to reach out to me, DM, or, on my website. I see somebody says, what are your credentials? So I studied resource economics in college with a concentration in business management and marketing. So yeah, that those are my credentials. And yeah, I'm excited to chat with you guys, to be a part of the community. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. And I did like 5-6 podcast interviews last year. Girl, y'all professionalism is like up here.
Oh, well, thank
I
you.
love it. And that's what turns me on the most about working with women of color. That our professionalism and our excellence is top notch, and I love that
Yeah.
for us.
Oh, I definitely appreciate that. We strive here at Beautiful Brown Girls to create these experiences that are really going to be excellent, right? Where we're able to come and get content and education that is specific for us from people who look like us, that we know are committed to us excelling. So I thank you for that. This has been 5 years, girl, of
I love
getting
it.
this together and finally in this automatic groove here with Beautiful Brown Girls. So I really, really, really appreciate that. I know we had quite a few first timers that are on with us. So I do want to take a minute to just make sure that you all are connected to us. One of the things that's important for you to know is just what is important to us here at Beautiful Brown Girls. And it really is about sisterhood, support, and self-care. Everything that we do is going to center around those things, right? So all of the content that we create, everything that we put out is really for the betterment of our community and really making sure that we are supporting each other and holding each other up. If you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I love this. This is something that I really, really, really want to be a part of. You also have the opportunity to go to our VIP members network. There you will be able to get an even deeper connection with our community, join our different groups, such as we have a fitness group, we have a book club, we have different communities that we even have a community that talks about like fashion and all that type of stuff. So if there is something that you have an interest in, basically we have somebody in our community that's talking about it and you really get to connect and also be free of all the algorithms and things that try to control how we interact with each other. So you can do that by going to tinyurl.com/brown-girl-boss. So having said all of that, Yarelys, I want to leave you with the last word. Our folks came in late. They were like, oh man, I missed it. What is the one thing that you would leave if they're like, they didn't get anything else? This is the one takeaway that you want to leave with the people. What is that?
The key to making more money is taking up more space.
Well, there you have it.
Period.
Okay.
Like,
Period.
I'm not even going to explain. Take up more space.
That's it. That's it, right? So we have our marching orders. You all, if for some reason you came in late, or if you're just watching the replay and you're like, I need to watch this again, please do continue to comment. The conversation does not stop here. I'm sorry. We continue to have the conversation. We continue to see the comments. We continue to interact in the comments. So please do tag people that you may know that are working on their money story, that are dealing with their money beliefs. Get them in here so that they can hear what we talked about tonight. We will be back with our next episode of Brown Versations this upcoming Monday. Sav and I got all kind of stuff and shenanigans to talk about, so y'all want to make sure that y'all are there for that. And then we'll have our next episode of Brown Girl Boss on April 5th. So having said that, y'all, I just want to thank you again for always hanging out. Please remember to share. Please remember to like. Please remember to continue to comment. Yarelys, honey, you are an official Beautiful Brown Girl now. So please make sure that you that you keep us in the loop with everything that you have going on. And y'all, as soon as you leave here, make sure that you run over to Yarelys' sites. Make sure you go to her Instagram page at Tifa14. That you also go over to her website at cashisqueen.org. All right. So having said that, we'll see y'all next time. Everybody. Peace out, y'all. Bye.
Bye, family.